Episode 1, Life Spirit. In this world, strength is everything. Those with power soar through the clouds, looking down upon the weak who are desperate to live. Fighting spirit is the inborn talent of the Book of the Way. Warriors can train their bodies to the peak of physical strength, but to gain real power, one must awaken a fighting spirit world beyond. Each martial arts practitioner, due to their own attributes, might awaken a fighting spirit by opening a door to the spirit world. These spirits are present in various forms of weapons such as swords and spears, as well as animals such as tigers and dragons. There are also many kinds of war spirits, which can be divided into 7 levels: red, orange, yellow, jade green, emerald green, blue, and purple. From the red level war spirit upward, each power level gradually increases. The Fisher family property, Asheville, North Carolina. On the altar, several young girls sat cross-legged. Above them, a dazzling light emanated from strange, beautiful stones carved with runes. The altar and girls were surrounded by young men, their road protectors, who themselves were only 15 or 16 years old. "Open the door of the spirit," an elderly man exclaimed. At the front of the altar, an elder of the Fisher family took a long drink from a chalice, drew several symbols in the palm of his hand, then fell to his knees and leaned over, resting his forehead to the floor. Beams of light came down from the sky and wrapped the young girls' bodies in energy. "Hold on to your mind and feel the power. The door of the spirit will open near you," the elder said. The altar had been specially designed by the Fisher family to open the spiritual gate for the family's children. Using the altar increased one's success in opening the spirit gate and connecting to a fighting spirit. An altar like this was very expensive, costing money and power. To open the sacrificial platform required a lot of resources. Therefore, only a large family like the Fishers, who had several talented youth, could manage such a feat as opening the spiritual gate from an altar. Scarlett Fisher was the eldest daughter of the Fisher family. She was not only beautiful, but also gifted, and regarded as the hope of the Fishers to rise to power in Washington, D.C. Scarlett sat on the altar meditating, her delicate body bathed in a halo of bright and shining light, indicating an open door to the high-level spirits. Beside her, a handsome young man concentrated on assisting her. The young man, Jack Watson, was a descendant of the great General Ewan Barrett. Jack's family had been defeated when he was just a child, but he had been adopted by the third master of the Fisher family and raised with Scarlett and her siblings. A few years earlier, the third master of the Fisher family died of a serious illness, leaving Jack alone within the Fishers. It had been very difficult for him because he was sometimes ostracized by members of the family, even though he and Scarlett had been promised to marry one another more than a decade ago. Now, Jack has become Scarlett's protector, yet even after the two had a strong connection, Jack would sometimes feel distant from her. "Scarlett, the time has come. I'll help you open the spiritual door," Jack announced. Although he had never opened the spiritual gate himself before, he had the unique ability to open it. Scarlett would not be able to open it without him. "I'm ready." Scarlett nodded slightly. Her delicate body was fragrant and sweaty. She squeezed out a smile at Jack, then closed her eyes. In her mind, she saw 5 colors of halo dancing in the void, as if helped by the forces of heaven and earth. Miss Scarlett is worthy of being the most outstanding prodigy of the Fisher family. In such a short time, she is ready to open the spiritual door. If only I could win the favor of Miss Scarlett, a young man in the audience professed. The man watched Scarlett with admiration in his eyes. "Stop dreaming," the man next to him exclaimed. "You know Miss Scarlett is engaged to Jack." "Oh, come on, Jack. The only thing he has are some useless opinions. Why shouldn't I marry my cousin?" the young man who watched Scarlett replied. The young man, James Kierley, was Scarlett's cousin and a regular visitor at the Fisher estate. Trading on the reputation of his uncle, James was domineering and arrogant. He was also jealous of Jack's engagement to Scarlett and found him troublesome. "Yes, Miss Scarlett is such a beautiful woman. How will she deal with that nobody?" someone in the crowd responded. Many people shared James's opinion of Jack and were not optimistic about him one day marrying Miss Scarlett. Jack, of course, could hear the murmurs in the crowd, but he sat resolute on the altar, a careless smile on his face. James was a fool, and at such a critical moment as this for Scarlet, Jack was not going to argue with him. He was used to the caustic comments of Fisher family members regarding him and his betrothal. He just wanted to be good, to open up the spiritual door, become a strong man, and restore his family's name and status. Clouds rolled in the sky, and a purple thunderbolt the length of a skyscraper shot down to the altar, sending its terrifying power directly into Scarlet's body. Scarlet cried, her pale, pretty face twisted in pain as her body shook violently. A terrible thunder rolled as the lightning continued piercing Scarlet's body, penetrating deep into the marrow of her bones. The people watching stood frozen in shock. Master, if you open up a high level of the Spirit Gate, you may encounter thunder robbery. This looks like what's happening to Ms. Scarlet. If you don't take measures quickly, she might be destroyed by thunder and end up being permanently disabled. The elder presiding over the altar alerted Scarlet's father, Henry Fisher. At the elder's words, everyone realized the seriousness of the matter. The Fisher minister's face was gloomy as he asked, "How can we save her?" The elder hesitated for Scarlet. If you don't take measures quickly, she might be destroyed by thunder and end up being permanently disabled. The elder presiding over the altar alerted Scarlet's father, Henry Fisher. At the elder's words, everyone realized the seriousness of the matter. The Fisher minister's face was gloomy as he asked, "How can we save her?" The elder hesitated for a moment, but pronounced, "You must have someone whose spirit pulse matches that of the young lady, and have them instill the spirit of their own life in the place of hers. That should dispel the thunder robbery." Henry's eyes narrowed slightly as he wondered, who in the family matches Scarlet's life spirit? It looked as if the minister understood Henry's question very well, and without any pause, he spat out 2 words, "Jack Watson!" The elder's attention automatically shifted to Jack's body. "Jack," he called out, "Scarlet is in danger. She is being robbed by thunder. We need your soul to pull her out of danger." Before Jack could open his mouth, Henry reassured, "Don't worry, the Fisher family will never treat you badly. If Scarlet succeeds in escaping danger, your engagement will be carried out." Jack's heart sank. Once his life spirit was lost, he would be unable to open the spiritual gate and awaken a fighting spirit to aid him in life. Jack didn't care about the engagement, but he couldn't watch Scarlet suffer under the assault of the thunder and ignore it. He closed his eyes, and with his hands against Scarlet's body, he let his life spirit seep into her. The rolling thunder dissipated, and the shaking ceased. Gradually, behind Scarlet, the shadow of a bird loomed, releasing the majesty of the phoenix. The crowd marveled, onlookers fixated on the sight before them. The majesty of the phoenix was so powerful that they felt the urge to kneel in obeisance. "What power! Miss Scarlet has awakened the spirit of the phoenix," a woman in a green scarf blurted. "There's more. It seems to have reached the jade level," another man in a brown jacket gasped. "How noble the Jade Green Order Phoenix fighting spirit is! By awakening the Jade Phoenix, Miss Scarlet has become one of the most talented figures in North Carolina," the woman in a green scarf added. "She is bound to be favored by the major forces, and the rise of the Fisher family is certain," the man in the brown jacket replied. Seeing Scarlet seated before the majesty of the phoenix, the whole Fisher family started clapping. Henry stood up directly from his seat, looking excited. That was his daughter, and now she was the pride of the Fisher family, the whole of Asheville, and even the state. Scarlet stood up slowly. The upper half was encircled by a 4-color halo, shining with the phoenix shadow behind her. A smile appeared on her beautiful face. At this moment, her light covered all the people, just like the real Phoenix goddess. Jack had a smile on his pale face. He was happy for Scarlet, even though he had lost the chance to open the spiritual door for himself. He could not see her destruction. "Congratulations, Scarlet," Jack beamed. He wore a sunny smile on his face. Scarlet nodded slightly, but didn't say anything. He'd never seen her like this before. Jack's smile was not reduced, but his heart was slightly heavy. A moment later, surrounded by the crowd, Scarlet and the officials left the altar. On the empty altar, Jack laughed at himself and jested. Maybe Scarlet's just too happy to speak. "Loser," James grunted as he walked slowly towards Jack. "Why are you still here, James?" Jack scowled. Hey, now that you've lost your life spirit, you really have nothing to offer. Why don't you just do us all a favor and kill yourself? James taunted with a sneer. My future is none of your concern. If you come to provoke me again, I will inform the owner of the house about this conversation and have you punished, Jack retorted. Jack was sharp, and his words were extremely cold. Yeah, right. You can't do anything to me, James boasted, and then left. As James left, Jack's eyes flashed with coldness. One day his ascendants would trample all who had humiliated him, he thought to himself. Jack returned to his residence, which was just a small room. For a future man of the Fisher family, it was a bit shabby and small. He had instilled his life spirit into Scarlet, which left him weak and needing to replenish his power. A book appeared in his hands, and he entered a state of meditation. The book, called The Book of the Way, had been a gift to Jack from his father. For the last 10 years, Jack had been practicing martial arts on his own. He worked hard and had a strong mind. Even though his life was difficult, he never stopped training. The full moon hung high, its bright light pouring through the window. Nowadays, Jack's cultivation was in a dual realm of physical training and meditation, which was quite different from most youth his age. A humming sound was heard as Jack's crystal-clear pearl released a soft light from his shirt pocket. A strong suction bloomed in the pearl, which quickly pulled the forces floating in the void, including those in Jack's body, into the bead. For just a moment, Jack regained his ruddy complexion before turning pale again. Jack wondered aloud as he pulled the bead from his pocket. The pearl changed color as it absorbed some elemental force. After that, a smile appeared on Jack's face, and he quickly put the pearl back in his pocket, thinking he might have an idea about what just happened. This pearl was left for him by his father, and it held Jack's second life spirit. Pearls, like his, automatically absorbed outside forces. According to his father, when the internal energy storage reached a state of saturation, the pearls released green dewdrops that contained immense energy. If Jack nourished himself with dewdrops, he might have a chance to regain his life spirit. Over the last 10 years, most of the energy formed by Jack had been siphoned by his pearl. As a result, his martial arts training and advancement of his power had been extremely slow, and he was ridiculed by others.